Okay, so when you first load up into Fracture, you're going to be like super confused. Valorant's newest map isn't like any other we've seen yet, and it's going to take some time to get used to. The map's shaped like a Pokeball. Defenders are spawned in the middle, while attackers can come from both ends of the map. So with attackers coming from a bunch of different angles, how do you defend each site? And with so many entrances to each site, what's the best way to attack a certain site? Well, that's what we're going over today here at Skillcapped. We'll be going over strategies for both attacking and defending, the smokes you should be placing, where you should get aggressive and where you shouldn't, and agents that might be better suited than others. But before we get into that, we need to talk about the most important parts of the map you'll be wanting to control. If you take a look at the map, you'll notice that there's only really one spot that defenders can rotate quickly through, and that's through their spawn. If your goal is to take a site, a really important part of the map you want to try and take control of is through door, and that's rope control. If you manage to gain control of ropes, you'll make rotates to the A site much harder. The only spots that can retake the site from are from drop or from your spawn, which can take ages to get to. Now if your goal is to take B site, you really want to try and take this tower control. With it, it gives you a really strong entrance point to the site and an even stronger post-plant position. One last important part is this tunnel underneath the B site. I'll talk a little more about this later, but with it you can play heavily for orb control, and these two orbs are pretty easy to grab as attackers. After you grab one, you can take the tunnel to help your teammate with the other one, and that's going to be 2 free ult points every round. You could even send a lurk to grab this orb from A, and that would give you a ton of orbs. Not to mention, this tunnel would make a great spot for a Killjoy ultimate. And something that I discovered, which I thought was pretty interesting, is that it covers the entire site, but defenders can actually shoot through the floor and break your Killjoy ultimate or shoot anyone who's underneath, so be careful. Now before we get into the rest of the guide, I just want to say that if you're looking for breakdowns of other maps, we have those as well at Skillcapped. We have Smurf commentaries where Radiant level players talk you through their games and show you how to play every map effectively. Or maybe if you wanted to learn how to run a default, a specific agent, or just how to get better, we can help you with that too. We also have a rank improvement guarantee so that if you don't see your rank improving, you'll get your money back. But there's literally so much value here, I find it hard that you won't improve. If you're looking for the fastest way to climb in Valorant, be sure to check out skillcapped.com, link in the description below. So with a million angles for attack, how should you? To be honest, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can attack each site, it's just the coordination that'll be the hard part. For example, if you wanted to split A, I think it'd be smart to send 2 through doors, 2 through main, and maybe have 1 lurk through dish. Dish is a hard spot to attack from because if you 5-man push that area, you're funneling yourself into a big drop that makes yourself an easy target for defenders, even if you're satcheling or dashing out. With this A split, you could throw a razor grenade into lift and maybe breach flash it afterwards for easy lift control. From there, your A main players can push up possibly with a breach stun, and this would create enough pressure for your dish player to lurk up pretty easily. And you could almost do the same identical play on B site, but with tower control. A flash and nade would work pretty well, and your other teammates could push up from the opposite part of the site. There's plenty of ways to take each site, just make sure they're using enough utility to push back defenders enough from the spots you want to take, while not using too much that you have nothing for post plant. Keep in mind that if the execute isn't going so smooth, you could fall back easily and take the zip lines and hit other sites as a team. Or you could even play some mind games with the enemy, but keep in mind that they cannot hear you on the zipline through their spawn, meaning cutting noise can really mess with enemies' heads. They could think that you're taking the ziplines away, while in reality you're getting ready to re-hit the same site. Just like the teleporters on Bind, I think that the ziplines are definitely going to be underused. There are just so many mind games that you can play that you'd be crazy not to abuse these ziplines. Think about it, you could show 5 people towards arcade, make a ton of noise, and immediately cut sound. Then you can quietly go back, take the zipline, and then go directly into an A split. I'm not going to get too much into it, but just think about the endless amount of strategies you can pull off using these ziplines. You could send 5 people towards arcade and then maybe send 3 across the zipline and maybe they go into a split, but you have 2 people lurk at B. Or maybe that you have 4 people do an A split and then once you make a bunch of noise, you cut noise, you come back and you do a 4 hit towards arcade, but you have somebody lurking dish the entire round. The ziplines are just like such an important part of this map that if you're not using them, you're almost throwing. A really easy way to defend on this site is that the attacking side is super predictable, so try not to be. Now let's talk about where you should be smoking. There really isn't an easy answer because there's so many possible places you could smoke, depending on what your game plan is for the round. Let's say for example that you wanted to play for the orbs that I mentioned earlier. A smoke on stairs would suffice to grab this one, while a smoke in tower and more towards B main would work so you can grab this one. The only issue with this strat is that it requires some bit of teamwork and some communication, and that can be hard to find in ranked. So let's just say you wanted to take A site through A main, nothing with ropes or anything else, just a plain A split. The 2 main smokes you want to throw are going to be on drop and A link. These are the 2 main spots that the defenders are going to be rotating from, and with these smoked off, you should have an easy time isolating anyone that's wanting to play on this site. The one area that might cause you issues is lift and anyone playing up there, because they can sort of take peeks at you and sort of peek away pretty safely. So again, this is something I highly recommend trying to take control of. Now for B site. The 2 main smokes you want to throw are going to be for pump, like this, and then 1 in canteen, like so. With these 2 smokes, you should have an easy time isolating the site. With that pump smoke, you can gain a ton of map control as well, especially behind this generator. Keep in mind that if you're 5-man pushing a site, that you're going to have to worry about being shot from the opposite side of the site, as that is no longer the T side, but now CT side. What I'm saying is that if you don't send anybody from stairs, the defenders are going to have an easy time picking you off, peeking and unpeeking from that stairs area. Okay, so you've taken the site, you split it like a pro, you're giving excellent comms to your teammates, your duelists aren't coming back, but that's okay, because you finally have the site. So where should you plant? The interesting thing about Fracture is that there are a ton of great plant spots that could be considered defaults. If you want to plant safely on A site, plant behind this wall as you can't get wall banged. Just keep in mind that it isn't as easy to stop someone defusing from this spot, as the diffuser is also protected now. More optimal plant spots would be behind this box, as it's easy to wallbang from the door area, or honestly, if you plant anywhere in the open, you'll have a pretty easy time stopping somebody from defusing. The way to play post plant in this map is similar to bind. You want to hold control of important parts of the map, such as A main and rope, so that you can easily spam defuses. You can't play onside as much, as there isn't really any good spots to hide behind or somewhere to play without getting easily punished for it. You could try hiding on top of site behind this metal piece, but then again, if the enemy sprays that spot, you're kind of screwed. Now, if you're really confident that you have the site, you could plant there and it'll be near impossible for enemies to defuse the bomb. On B site, it's a bit more complex than planting anywhere, as you can get punished through these smokes that we talked about earlier if you plant more freely. And with the recent patch, keep in mind that raiding night boxes are much easier to spam through. So triple wouldn't be a good idea to plant unless you feel really safe and you have full confidence that your team has full control of the site. You can plant there, but you're going to take some damage, especially if the enemy knows where to spam and where you're planting. A better spot in my opinion to plant on is in this cubby. From here you can hold a really strong angle from tower and stop anyone from defusing. This spot overall is just much safer to plant in, and it encourages your team to gain tower control, which is arguably the most important part of the site. For post plant, you're going to want to hold crossfires on site from these spots, and try your hardest to maintain tower control. With it, you can hold these crosses with your teammates while gather info if the enemy team is pushing through arcade. So earlier in the guide, I mentioned how tunnels is an extremely important part of the map, and the post plant is when this really kicks in. If you can get a lurker to go into tunnel, you can sandwich the retakes. Think about it. For example, if the enemy team is trying to retake from arcade, you can let them go onto site, and so that your tunnel player can come from behind, creating a pinch on them with your team. This means that in the future, the only true safe spots that defenders can retake from are going to be from pump and canteen, which are super narrow spaces that mollies can really clog up. Okay, so now that you know how to attack on the map, it's time that we talk about defense. Now this might be obvious, but Fracture is definitely a T-sided map. With the amount of options that the offense has, it can be really hard to truly lock down a site. But there are a couple ways you can effectively play defense, and those are with information or with brute force. With information agents like Sova or Cypher, you can find out who's pushing where, how many, what they're doing, etc, etc. With this information, your other players can push up in some safer areas and get ready to try and retake the site from multiple angles. Let's say for example, Cypher finds out that there are two pushing through door, his tripwire broken A main, but his tripwire and dish is still up. It's safe to assume that they're performing an A split, and you could push through B site towards dish to try and hold off and execute. And then with the Sova, you could possibly try to sniff out the lurk towards B, making your rotate safer. And this is how you play with information, and this requires constant communication of what you hear and see, which again can be harder to do with strangers you find unranked. Now let's talk about the probably more popular method, the brute force method. Again, if you look at the map, it's in the shape of a circle with attackers coming from both sides. One way to solve this issue is pushing one half of the map while playing retake on the other. You could run a team comp of 2 duelists, Breacher Sky, a controller, and a Cypher, and you'd be good at running a double push out of arcade and dish, or you could leave an operator dish and 3 push arcade. Once you have control of that half of the map, you can retake the other half and you'll have a better idea of where the attackers are going to be. Also, this aggression is probably going to screw with the attacker's game plan and make them panic and make them force mistakes. Keep in mind that with this method, your goal is to either gain map control or find 1 or 2 kills. Once you have either, you need to stop aggressing or otherwise you're overextending and throwing your man advantage away. This was all just one map breakdown that we have on our website though. We actually have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries where we have Radiant players walk you through exactly how to play these maps during a live game, and they're super helpful to see in real time what goes through a top tier player's head. These players do a great job at breaking down how you should be playing each map. And as we mentioned before, it's also backed by a rank improvement guarantee. And the reason we do that is because we're just that confident that our service works. And if it doesn't, you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You've got nothing to lose. Head on over to Skillcapped.com and get started on your way to that rank that you deserve. I hope this video helped you guys understand a bit better on how to play in this new map. It honestly can be pretty overwhelming, especially to newer players as you first load in. But we believe that Fracture is a pretty awesome map and might be one of the best. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. And that's all for us. I'm Teets, and we here at Skillcapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.